Today I'm going to talk about mercats and unicorns, which sounds like some kind of fantasy novel about a half cat, half fish creature who goes on adventures with a mythical horse-like animal with a horn on its head. Well, that's not entirely the case. In some towns of Scotland, you will find what is called a mercat cross, or perhaps easier for us non-Scottish people to understand, a market cross. Usually they were freestanding stone structures that were placed to mark where a town was permitted to hold a market, which was a right granted by a monarch, bishop, or baron. King William the Lion, who reigned from 1165 to 1214, made a law stating that all markets were to be held near the market cross. This particular market cross is located in the town of Cumnock. According to local history, the right to erect the cross and hold a market was granted by King James IV in 1509, when Cumnock was created a burgh and barony. Market crosses can be found throughout Scotland, but what does any of that have to do with a unicorn? Simply this. While the Cumnock cross does not have a unicorn on it, instead featuring sundials and the coat of arms of the Earl of Dumfries, many others do, including this one located in Prestapans. In fact, all over Scotland, you will see images of unicorns on historic buildings, especially royal ones. The unicorn is actually the national animal of Scotland. If we are going to go for mythical creatures, I might have campaigned for the wild haggis that roams through the highlands with its legs being different sizes, so it can better run sideways on the hills and escape tourists. But I suppose, given that unicorns are pictured as strong, proud, independent creatures, historically that would be a good description of the Scots. No one seems to know for sure why the unicorn became Scotland's national animal, but it seems to have been incorporated into the Scottish royal coat of arms by King James I of Scotland in the 15th century. Similar to what is pictured here, two unicorns were placed on either side of the coat of arms. From early on, the unicorns had chains upon them. This is thought to represent the fact that only kings or noble and pure people can restrain a unicorn. Thus, the kings and queens of Scotland were seen to be indeed special. When James VI of Scotland became King of England in 1603 as King James I, he had a new coat of arms created. In this one, he had one of the unicorns on the side of the coat of arms replaced with a lion to represent England. Pictured are two versions of the coat of arms still seen today. There are several differences, but since I'm talking about unicorns in Scotland, the two significant ones are the fact that often in Scotland the unicorn will be on the left and the lion on the right, while in England it is the other way around. Also note, on the Scottish one, the unicorn has a crown on his head, while on the English one, he does not. There are various legends about unicorns and lions being enemies, the idea being that both desire to be the king of the beast. There is an old nursery rhyme that was written about them. It goes something like this. The lion and the unicorn were fighting for the crown. The lion beat the unicorn all around the town. Some gave them white bread, some gave them brown. Some gave them plum cake and drummed them out of town. Later, in around 1708, another verse was added, speaking about the lion, saying, and when he beat him out, he beat him in again. He beat him 3 times over, his power to maintain. The writer Lewis Carroll made use of this poem in his book Through the Looking Glass, having Alice meet a lion and a unicorn fighting over a crown. This is just speculation on my part, but I think one of the reasons that James VI, or James I, depending on how you count him, might have continued to use the unicorn is because at the time the unicorn was thought to be biblical. In the King James Version of the Bible, which the king himself authorized, you will find unicorns mentioned a few times in the Old Testament, in passages in Job, Numbers, and Psalms. To give one example, in Job chapter 39 verse 10, it reads, Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or make him hollow the valleys for thee? In every passage where the unicorn is mentioned, it speaks of power and strength. Most translations now translate the word as wild ox. But certainly, if someone like James was looking for a strong and powerful animal, then the description of a unicorn would have made for a good choice. So now you have a little information about meerkats and unicorns. If you ever choose to explore Scotland, maybe you will see both of these on your travels. For now, goodbye, Archerian Drosta.